Hello everyone and welcome back to International Crime Zone. In today's episode number 1, we dive into a chilling true crime story that shocked China, Thailand and beyond, the abduction of actor Wang Xing. It's a tale of deception, human trafficking, and a desperate race against time. If you love gripping real crime mysteries, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss a single episode. Now let's get into the story. It begins in early January 2025. Wang Xing, a young Chinese actor with hopes and dreams of his big break, receives an invitation via WeChat. He is told of a promising new film project in Bangkok, Thailand, a chance to step up his career. The offer sounds real. Details, schedules, hotel accommodation, even a supposed Thai production company. Excited and trusting, Wang makes plans. He tells his girlfriend Jia about this golden opportunity. He books his flight. He's looking forward to a change of scene, a breakthrough in his work. His ambition drives him. This is what he's been waiting for. Wang arrives in Bangkok on January 3rd, but from the moment he lands, things begin to shift. He is met by people who claim to be crew members. He is guided through the airport, appears to be treated as a special guest. But the atmosphere is off. The chauffeur changes. The hotel isn't the one he expected. Things don't add up. He tries to call Jia, let her know he's safe, but the tone in his voice betrays unease. He texts her, "All good so far, just waiting for the shoot to start." Inside, a knot forms in his stomach. As the hours pass, that knot tightens. Wang realizes the production company has vanished. His phone signal is getting weaker. The driver avoids asking questions. He sends location updates to Jia, snapshots of unknown roads, Thai-Myanmar border signage. He texts, "I'm being moved somewhere else. Don't worry, I'll be fine." But the smile he tries to show in his selfie betrays fear in his eyes. He wonders, did I make a mistake? Was I naive? The setup is too good to be true. Overnight, he's transferred to a remote location. No longer a film set, but a compound near the Thai-Myanmar border. He's stripped of his freedom. Suddenly, he's not an actor in a dream job. He's a victim in a nightmare. A haircut. His head is shaved. A new identity forced. He is told to sit at a desk, type scripts, run calls, pretend for others. His passport taken. His hope sinks. He realizes the truth. He was lured, trapped, trafficked. The joy of the opportunity turns to horror, confusion and helplessness. Inside the compound, he meets dozens of other Chinese victims, all drawn in with fake job offers, all forced into online scam operations under threat. He hears rumors of third building where those who refuse are sent. He thinks about home. He thinks about Jia waiting. He thinks about his mother, his friends. He thinks, how will I ever get out? The compound is a prison. The facade of freedom a lie. His heart pounds each time a guard walks past. His spirit fights to survive. And while he sits there in silence, the world outside still believes he's chasing his big break in the film industry. Back in China, Jia begins to worry. 2 days have passed since Wang's last message. His phone shows last seen on January 5th. At first, she blames the weak signal, maybe a lost charger. But by the 3rd day, her intuition screams that something is wrong. She scrolls through his messages again and again. The last one haunts her. "Don't worry, I'll be fine." She replays his voice notes, the forced calmness in his tone, the slight tremor he tried to hide. Her heart races. She calls his mother in Suzhou and tells her everything. Panic spreads like wildfire through the family. Wang's mother can't sleep. She calls the Chinese embassy in Bangkok, hoping for help, but bureaucracy moves slow. The embassy takes the report seriously, but they've seen similar cases. Young men tricked into illegal online work camps along the Thai-Myanmar border. They explain that rescue is complicated. Those areas are often run by criminal syndicates, not official governments. The reality crushes Jia. She realizes this isn't just a missing person case. It's something darker, something organized. Every passing hour feels like sand slipping through her fingers. Meanwhile, Wang tries to adjust to his new hell. The guards make him memorize fake scripts and communicate online with strangers, pretending to be investment brokers. He resists at first, until one of the guards shows him a video, another victim being beaten for refusal. That night, under flickering fluorescent lights, Wang types the fake messages with shaking hands. He feels like a ghost, detached from himself. Every click on the keyboard echoes his broken will. The actor who once dreamed of fame now performs a role of survival. In the compound, he befriends a man named Liu Fan, another Chinese victim who's been there for months. Liu whispers that he's been mapping the compound layout secretly in hopes of escaping. They speak in low tones, careful not to be overheard by guards or cameras. Together they begin to plan, memorize guard shifts, find weak fences, watch for delivery trucks. But every plan feels like a gamble with death. If caught, punishment is brutal. Still, the thought of Jia and freedom fuels Wang's determination. At night, Wang closes his eyes and imagines his life before this. The stage lights, the laughter, his girlfriend's smile. He wonders if anyone is still looking for him, or if he's already forgotten. Tears come silently. In the distance he hears screams, someone else being punished. The camp's silence afterward is more terrifying than the sound itself. He learns to hide his emotions, to wear a mask of obedience, to wait for the right moment. Inside him, hope flickers, weak but alive. Jia posts Wang's story on social media, pleading for help. The post goes viral in hours. Millions share it under the hashtag Find Wang Xing. Chinese netizens flood the embassy and tie authorities with messages. News outlets start covering the story, forcing officials to act. Somewhere inside that remote border camp, Wang doesn't know his face is now on every screen back home. He doesn't know the world has started searching for him, and that his fight for survival is now a global call for justice. By the second week of January, the online uproar has reached international headlines. Chinese journalists, Thai media outlets, and even human rights activists begin to dig into the strange disappearance of the young actor. The name Wang Xing trends across social platforms, but with every new article, new layers of horror emerge. Several reports hint that dozens of Chinese nationals have gone missing under similar circumstances, all lured by fake job or acting offers in Southeast Asia. It's no longer a single case. It's part of a larger, well-coordinated criminal operation. The pressure on both governments intensifies. Behind closed doors, diplomats exchange tense messages, trying to determine if Wang Xing is still alive. The Chinese embassy in Bangkok sets up a special task unit, combining Thai police, cybercrime investigators, and Chinese intelligence officers. Their mission: trace every digital footprint left by Wang's phone. The investigators pore over flight logs, taxi records, and security footage. At first, the trail goes cold after he exits the Bangkok airport. But then, a stroke of luck. An ATM camera captures a brief glimpse of him withdrawing cash near a border town called Mae Sot. It's enough to narrow down the search zone. But the area is dangerous, filled with scam compounds and private militias that answer to no one. Entering without permission could mean death. Still, the rescue team prepares to move. Inside the compound, Wang continues his quiet act of survival. The guards have grown crueler since one man tried to escape last week and was dragged back half dead. Wang and Liu Fan now whisper only at night, speaking through the walls using coded knocks. Liu Fan believes there's a drainage tunnel behind the kitchen area, a possible escape route. But it's narrow, wet, and infested with rats. They would need to crawl through it unseen during a power outage. Every night, Wang rehearses the route in his mind. Hope and terror coexist inside him like twin shadows. He knows one mistake could end his life. Meanwhile, Jia is no longer alone. Volunteers from online missing person forums begin tracing suspicious companies that post fake casting calls. One particular IP address leads to a group registered in northern Myanmar. She prints every piece of evidence and sends it to the embassy. Her determination shocks the investigators. A young woman, fighting a system of global trafficking with nothing but love and desperation. "I promised him I'd always believe in his dreams," she tells a reporter through tears. "I just never thought his dream would become my nightmare." Her pain becomes the nation's pain. Strangers flood her with messages of support, fueling her to keep going. The criminal network, feeling the international pressure, begins relocating victims deeper into Myanmar. Wang and the others are told to pack what little they have. That night, panic spreads in whispers. Relocation often means disappearance. Lu Fan decides it's now or never. He tells Wang, "Tomorrow night, blackout time, we run." Wang's pulse races. It's the first real chance they've had, but the risk is immense. They know most who try never return. Still, the fear of being forgotten feels worse than death itself. They make a pact. If one escapes, he must tell the world what happened here. As the sun sets on January 14th, a thunderstorm rolls in. Lightning cracks across the sky above the jungle. The power flickers. The moment they've been waiting for has come. In that instant, two shadows slip through the darkness toward the kitchen wall, hearts pounding, every breath heavy with hope and dread. The rain hides their footsteps, but will it hide them from the eyes that never sleep? The line between life and death has never felt thinner. Rain lashes against the corrugated metal roofs as thunder echoes through the valley. The compound seems quieter than usual. Most guards huddle under shelter, smoking and drinking, trying to wait out the storm. Wang and Liu Fan exchange a single glance across the dim corridor. It's time. Their hearts pound like war drums as they move toward the kitchen area, pretending to carry waste bins. Every step feels like stepping into fate. The smell of damp earth and diesel fills the air. Lightning flashes for a second, revealing the rusted steel grate near the ground. Their exit. Lu Fan kneels and starts loosening the bolts with a piece of metal he'd hidden for weeks. The rain and thunder cover the faint scraping sound. After what feels like eternity, the grate shifts open. "Go," Liu whispers. Wang hesitates. Fear tightens his chest, but he forces himself forward. The tunnel is narrow, suffocating and filled with muddy water. They crawl in darkness, hearing only the echo of dripping water and the distant rumble of thunder. At one point, Wang's shirt gets caught on a jagged pipe. He panics, struggling silently to free himself, terrified that one noise could end it all. His fingers bleed, but he doesn't stop. The air grows thinner. Every movement forward feels like clawing through a nightmare. Somewhere behind them, faint shouts break the silence. The guards have noticed something. Inside the compound, chaos erupts. A guard yells, "Two missing!" Alarms blare through the rain-soaked night. Flashlights slice through the darkness as armed men scatter in all directions. Wang and Liu hear the barking of dogs drawing closer. Liu whispers, "Faster!" But the tunnel narrows even more. They can barely breathe. Then, a splash of cold air. They see faint moonlight at the tunnel's end. Freedom is just a few meters away. But freedom always comes at a price. Suddenly, gunshots echo. The sound ricochets off the metal walls. Wang freezes, unsure if it's behind or ahead. The world collapses into noise, fear, and raw instinct. They burst out of the tunnel into thick jungle. Rain pours endlessly, turning the ground to mud. They run without direction, branches cutting their faces, lungs burning. Behind them, voices shout in Thai and Mandarin. Liu stumbles, gripping his leg. He's been grazed by a bullet. "Go, Wang," he gasps. "Don't stop!" But Wang can't leave him. He wraps Liu's arm around his shoulder and drags him through the trees. They find a shallow ditch and collapse inside, gasping, hearts hammering. For the first time, Wang looks up at the open sky. No walls, no cameras, just freedom and terror intertwined. He whispers, "We made it." But deep down, he knows it's far from over. Morning comes quietly. The jungle hums with insects and distant sounds of trucks. They hide under thick leaves, waiting for patrols to pass. Liu's wound is worse than they thought. Bleeding, swollen, and infected. Wang tears a piece of his shirt to bind it. Hunger gnaws at them, but thirst is worse. They drink muddy rainwater collected in leaves. Hours feel like days. At one point, Wang hears a helicopter overhead. Maybe a search team, maybe the traffickers. He doesn't know which is worse. Every sound feels like a test of fate. He remembers Jiajia's smile and tells himself, "You can't die here." By evening, they reach a small dirt road. Faint tire tracks mark the ground, proof that civilization might be near. Liu, weak and pale, tells Wang to go ahead. "You still have a chance," he says, voice trembling. Wang refuses, but Liu's strength fades. "If they catch both of us, it's over. Go." A tear mixes with rain on Wang's face. He grips Liu's hand tightly before crawling out onto the road. Within minutes, he hears the roar of an approaching vehicle, a Thai delivery truck. He waves desperately, shouting for help. The driver stops, stunned to see a disheveled, bloodied man stumbling out of the jungle. Wang collapses at his feet, whispering, "Help, please," before losing consciousness. When Wang opens his eyes again, he's surrounded by the soft beeping of machines and the sterile smell of disinfectant. A white ceiling blurs above him. For a brief, disoriented moment, he wonders if he's back on a film set. The lights, the background noise, the people speaking Thai outside the curtain. But then he feels the sting of an IV in his arm and the bandage around his wrist. He's alive, barely. The nurse enters, startled to see him awake. She calls for a doctor, speaking rapidly. Through the haze, he catches fragments of English. Chinese national. Border rescue. Critical condition. It hits him like lightning. He's out. He escaped. But where is Liu Fan? His heart aches before his mind can form the question. The Thai police arrive hours later, their faces tense. They bring a translator who gently asks, "Are you Wang Xing?" Wang nods weakly, tears welling up. The officer says they found him unconscious near Mae Sot, about a kilometer from the Myanmar border. The truck driver who picked him up reported the incident immediately, fearing it was linked to human trafficking. Wang tells them everything: the fake film offer, the compound, Liu Fan, the torture, the narrow escape. Each word costs him effort. Each memory slices deeper into his mind. The officers exchange glances. They've heard similar testimonies before, but Wang's story carries weight. He's a public figure. His disappearance already a national sensation. This case could finally expose the network behind hundreds of vanishings. Meanwhile, in China, Jiajia gets the call she's been praying for. The embassy confirms Wang has been found alive in Thailand. For a moment, she's speechless. Then she collapses to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. Her parents rush to hold her as she laughs and cries at once. The news spreads like wildfire. Wang Xing found alive. Social media erupts with joy, disbelief, and relief. But amid the celebration, there's one haunting question. What happened inside that camp? And how many others are still trapped there? The internet becomes a battlefield of outrage and demand for action. Every headline screams for justice. Back in the hospital, Wang insists on telling investigators about Liu Fan, how he risked his life to help him escape, how he stayed behind despite the danger. The Thai police coordinate with border forces, but the search area is perilous. The syndicate that ran the compound has already started moving operations deeper into Myanmar territory. The terrain is thick jungle and lawless ground, patrolled by armed guards loyal only to money. Rescue teams find traces, boot prints, empty food wrappers, signs of recent activity. But no victims. The uncertainty eats away at Wang. He blames himself for leaving Liu Fan behind. Each night he dreams of that tunnel, of Liu's voice saying, "Go, don't stop." As Wang recovers, journalists swarm the hospital. Cameras flash outside. Reporters shout questions about his ordeal. But he stays silent, only releasing a short statement through his embassy. "I survived, but many did not. Don't forget them. That single line breaks the internet again. Thousands of families with missing relatives come forward, realizing their loved ones might be victims of the same network. Governments can no longer ignore it. A multi-nation operation begins involving Thailand, China, and Interpol. For the first time, the shadowy world of cross-border trafficking faces the light of global attention. Yet Wang feels no peace, because he knows the story isn't over. The masterminds are still free. One evening, as rain softly taps against the hospital window, Wang receives a message from an unknown number. It contains only 3 words, written in Chinese. He didn't make it. His breath catches. His hands tremble. The world around him fades to silence. Liu Fan, the man who gave him freedom, is gone. Wang stares at the screen for a long time, tears spilling down his face. He whispers, "I'll tell your story. I promise." That night he makes a vow to expose the truth, to speak for every silent victim, and to destroy the empire that fed on their pain. The rescue of Wang Xing sends ripples far beyond Thailand and China. Within days, the Chinese Ministry of Public Security, Thai anti-trafficking units, and Interpol form a joint investigation cell. Their first mission is clear: dismantle the network that lured Wang Xing and hundreds of others into slavery. But the moment they start tracing digital footprints, they uncover something far more disturbing. The fake film company that contacted Wang isn't a small scam outfit. It's a front for an international criminal syndicate operating across Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand. The case explodes into headlines once again, now framed not as a kidnapping, but as part of a billion-dollar human trafficking empire. Investigators follow the money trail and discover a labyrinth of offshore accounts, tied to shell corporations in Singapore and Dubai. Each layer leads to another, more hidden one. Among the data are coded financial transfers labeled recruitment expenses, funneled through crypto exchanges. The same IP address used to contact Wang through WeChat matches one found in another missing person case months earlier, a 27-year-old software engineer from Chengdu. Suddenly everything connects. The victims were not random. They were hand-picked, young, educated, and desperate for opportunity, perfect targets for manipulation. The illusion of glamour, career growth, or love was used as bait. Meanwhile, Wang sits in the Chinese embassy's safe house in Bangkok, cooperating with investigators. Despite his trauma, he recounts every detail: the compound's layout, guard uniforms, accents, routines, even the smell of the food they were forced to eat. Each detail becomes a clue. Forensic teams compare his descriptions with satellite imagery and border surveillance data. They identify at least 3 similar compounds near Mayawadi, Myanmar. But reaching them requires more than evidence. It requires courage. Those zones are run by warlords who control private militias and buy loyalty with blood. To raid them would mean starting a small war. Back home, Wang's survival transforms him from a rising actor into a reluctant symbol. Talk shows, news panels, and podcasts dissect his ordeal. Some praise his bravery, others question the government's failures. Jia watches him on TV, her heart breaking at how different he looks. Thinner, quieter, haunted. Every smile seems forced, his eyes distant. She knows he's still inside that tunnel mentally, replaying the sounds and faces that won't fade. But she also knows he's changed. He's no longer the dreamer chasing fame. He's the survivor chasing truth. She stands by him silently, becoming his unseen strength. As pressure mounts, Interpol's data leak reveals something chilling. Several of the companies funding these fake job schemes have links to legitimate entertainment agencies, tech startups, and even political donors. It's not just crime. It's corruption with government protection. The world begins to see that human trafficking is no longer confined to back alleys or slums. It's embedded in respectable industries, hiding behind glossy websites and smiling recruiters. The investigators realize they're not just chasing criminals, they're fighting a system. And somewhere inside that system, Someone powerful is watching every move they make. Late one night, as Wang prepares for another interview, his phone buzzes again. Another anonymous message appears. "You're still being watched." Stop talking. His blood runs cold. He shows it to the embassy guards, but they find no trace of the sender. Outside, lightning flashes over Bangkok's skyline, and for a moment, Wang sees his reflection in the window. Tired eyes staring back at a man who escaped hell but can never truly leave it. He whispers, "I'm not afraid anymore." Yet deep down he knows, the war he started is only just beginning. February 2025, the investigation hits its most dangerous phase. Interpol's task force, aided by Thai cybercrime officers, intercepts a stream of encrypted communications between two syndicate heads. The messages mention a single code name, Project Phoenix, a coded reference to the Trafficking network's financial revival plan after Wang's escape exposed them. What shocks investigators most is a familiar name hidden in the metadata. Li Zhenghao, a Chinese entertainment executive who once scouted actors for international projects. He's the same man who first reached out to Wang through WeChat about the film opportunity. It's no longer speculation. The person who offered Wang his big break was part of the syndicate all along. The revelation detonates like a bomb across Chinese media. Li Zhenghao is rich, respected, and deeply connected in both the film industry and political circles. Reporters swarm his company headquarters in Beijing, but Li has already vanished. Sources whisper that he fled to Laos using a private jet the night before the leak went public. The world begins to understand that Wang's case isn't just about crime. It's about betrayal from inside his own world. The film industry, the one that gave him dreams, was the same one that sold him into hell. Wang sits quietly as he watches the breaking news, feeling a cold emptiness inside. "He looked me in the eyes," Wang murmurs to Jiajia, "and told me I was going to be a star." Meanwhile, across Thailand's border, a combined Chinese-Thai rescue team moves in on the suspected compound sites identified through Wang's testimony. The operation is brutal and swift. Gunfire echoes through the jungle as helicopters hover overhead. When the dust settles, they free more than 40 captives, Chinese, Vietnamese, and Burmese, all emaciated, all broken. But among the rescued, Liu Fan's name is missing. Instead, they find a notebook wrapped in plastic, buried beneath a desk, filled with maps, tunnel sketches, and escape notes. It's Liu's handwriting. In one corner, he had written in shaky Chinese, "If someone finds this, tell Wang he made it." Wang breaks down upon hearing it. It's proof his friend died so he could live. Interpol publishes the first official report. Over 700 victims across Asia have fallen prey to similar scams since 2023. The trafficking network earned millions monthly through forced cybercrime and blackmail operations. The report triggers international outrage. Governments start arresting mid-level agents, shutting down websites, and freezing offshore accounts. But Li Zhenghao remains at large, protected by money, influence, and hidden alliances. Anonymous sources claim he's regrouping in northern Laos under another identity. The chase becomes a diplomatic nightmare. Every move risks international conflict. Amid the chaos, Wang receives an invitation to testify before the United Nations Anti-Trafficking Summit. At first he refuses. "I'm not a hero," he says. "I just survived." But Jiajia takes his hand and whispers, "Then survive for those who didn't." Her voice trembles, but her eyes hold steady. That night, Wang looks at Liu Fan's old notebook one last time. The ink is smudged, but the message is clear. Survival means responsibility. He decides to go public again, even if it means putting himself back in danger. The next day, his statement begins with one chilling line. "They tried to make me disappear. Now I'll make them visible, but danger doesn't sleep." Hours before his speech, Wang's security team intercepts a black SUV trailing his car through downtown Bangkok. Inside, they find fake credentials, embassy IDs, weapons, and a note with his photo crossed out. The message is clear: silence or death. The attack never reaches him, but it proves something terrifying. Li Zhenghao's men are still hunting. The camera flashbulbs at the UN summit hide a deeper threat: a sniper's lens watching from a distant rooftop. As Wang walks toward the podium, unaware, every second feels like a countdown. The United Nations headquarters in Bangkok is swarming with journalists, security officers, and flashing cameras. Inside the massive conference hall, world leaders, diplomats, and human rights activists take their seats. The air feels charged. Everyone knows they're witnessing history. When Wang Xing steps onto the stage, the room falls silent. Dressed in a plain black suit, his face pale but resolute, he doesn't look like an actor anymore. He looks like a man who's seen hell and walked back. He begins to speak softly at first, his voice trembling as he describes how a dream became a trap, how people like him were turned into slaves behind computer screens. The silence deepens. Cameras zoom in on his trembling hands. He pauses, then says, "They stole my freedom, but not my truth." The hall erupts in applause, brief, emotional, heavy. As Wang continues, his words cut through diplomatic formality like a blade. He names locations, methods, even faces, the syndicate bosses, the front companies, the investors who pretended ignorance. He reveals screenshots, chat logs, and video clips he'd secretly backed up before his trip, the very messages that lured him. The evidence leaves the room stunned. Delegates exchange shocked glances. Interpreters struggle to keep up. The moderator tries to maintain order, but the story has taken over the room. For the first time, the trafficking empire has a face, a voice, a survivor who lived to tell it. Wang ends with a single statement: "If we keep pretending not to see, then we are all guilty." The applause that follows is thunderous, echoing like justice long delayed. Outside, however, shadows move. Unknown to the delegates inside, two men in maintenance uniforms have bypassed security and climbed to the building's roof. One carries a long black case, a sniper rifle assembled piece by piece under the hot afternoon sun. The order had come the night before. He must not speak again. From the rooftop, the sniper peers through the scope, his finger tightening around the trigger. Inside the hall, Wang takes a deep breath and bows. The red laser dot grazes the glass behind him. At that exact moment, a bodyguard spots a glint of metal from above and shouts, "Down!" The hall explodes into chaos. The glass shatters. Screams fill the air. Wang hits the floor, the sound of gunfire mixing with panic and confusion. Security swarms the building. Sirens blare. Delegates duck for cover under tables while guards escort Wang out through the emergency exit. A bullet lodges into the wooden podium where he stood seconds ago. Blood stains the edge of his jacket. Not his, but a guard's who shielded him in the final moment. Outside, armored vehicles surround the complex. The shooters try to flee down the service stairwell, but one is captured after a brief struggle. The other disappears into the chaos of Bangkok's crowded streets. When interrogated later, the captured man refuses to speak, except for one chilling sentence in broken Mandarin: "The Phoenix never dies." The assassination attempt shocks the world. Every major news outlet runs the story. Wang Xing survives shooting at UN summit. Overnight, he becomes more than a victim. He becomes a symbol of resistance against global trafficking. Candlelight vigils appear in Beijing, Shanghai, Bangkok, and even New York. Social media floods with messages: justice for Wang Xing, stop the Phoenix, end human trafficking. But while millions celebrate his survival, intelligence agencies begin to realize what this attack really means. Someone powerful is still pulling the strings, and they are not done yet. At the hospital, Wang wakes up shaken but alive. His first words are not about himself, but about the man who saved him, the bodyguard now in critical condition. Jiajia holds his hand, tears falling silently. She tells him, "You're not just fighting for yourself anymore. You're fighting for everyone they silenced." Wang looks at her, eyes burning with quiet fire. "Then I'll keep fighting," he says, "even if it kills me." Outside the window, reporters wait, and somewhere in the darkness of Bangkok, the last surviving assassin makes a phone call. "It failed," he whispers. On the other end, a cold voice answers. "Then we start the next phase." The Bangkok skyline glows with police lights and breaking news alerts. After the failed assassination attempt, Wang Xing is placed under international protection. Intelligence agencies from China, Thailand, and Interpol launch Operation Phoenix Down, a global manhunt to dismantle the syndicate responsible. Inside a dimly lit command center, digital maps flash with red dots marking secret accounts, fake companies, and suspected hideouts. The name that keeps reappearing is one everyone thought was gone, Li Jinghao, the man behind the recruitment agency that lured Wang. Once a respected businessman, Li had vanished 2 years earlier after accusations of laundering money for an international trafficking network. Now, investigators realize he never disappeared. He simply moved higher in the shadows. In a secret meeting between Chinese and Thai officials, files are spread across the table, photographs, offshore bank statements, intercepted emails. Every clue leads to a deeper hole. One Chinese officer says, "It's not just him. Look at these names." On the list are ministers, businessmen, and even a former intelligence chief. The realization hits like a thunderbolt. The kidnapping wasn't random. It was state-protected business. The silence in the room grows heavier as everyone understands the danger of what they've uncovered. Someone finally whispers, "We're not chasing criminals anymore. We're chasing power." That sentence marks the start of something irreversible. Meanwhile, Wang's condition improves, but his security tightens. He's hidden in a safe house outside Bangkok, guarded by both local and foreign agents. One night, while reviewing photos from the UN conference, he notices something chilling. A man standing near the back door wearing a blue badge. Wang freezes. The face looks familiar. It's Li Jinghao, the man who once smiled during his recruitment interview. Wang's voice trembles as he shows the photo to Jiajia. "He was there," he says. "He watched everything." The realization that his captor stood just meters away during his testimony fills him with dread and fury. "He's not done with me," Wang whispers. "He wants me to see what happens next." In Hong Kong, a journalist named Mei Lin receives an anonymous encrypted email. It contains a video file labeled "Phoenix Truth Within Fire." When she opens it, she gasps. It's a recording of Li Jinghao sitting in an opulent office, surrounded by monitors showing trafficked victims working in digital scams. His voice is calm, almost philosophical. "The world is not built by truth," he says. "It's built by control." Wang Xing tried to tell a story, but stories don't change power. Only fear does. The video ends with Li staring straight into the camera, saying, "If they want war, they'll have it." Within hours, the file leaks online and explodes globally. Governments go into crisis mode. Social media platforms crash under the flood of outrage and fear. International pressure mounts. The UN authorizes a joint task force to locate and capture Li Jinghao. Interpol traces him through a web of shell corporations, crypto accounts, and flight logs. Leads emerge in Myanmar, Dubai, and the Philippines. Every time agents get close, he vanishes, leaving behind burnt files, dead witnesses, and encrypted drives. It's as if he's always one step ahead. Rumors spread that he's backed by powerful figures within governments who protect him in exchange for silence and profit. The more they chase him, the more invisible he becomes, a ghost in the system. And then, a week later, a shocking video surfaces. A hooded man claiming to be from Li's network declares, "You saved one Wang Xing, but how many will you lose next?" Behind him, blurred faces of new captives appear on screen. In the safe house, Wang watches the broadcast in horror. His face turns pale and his voice breaks. He's using them. To send me a message. Jiajia grabs his hand, trying to calm him. You can't give up now, she says softly. You're their voice. But Wang feels the weight of guilt crushing him. He whispers, what if I started something that can't be stopped? The scene ends with the camera panning to the window, a drone hovering in the night sky, its red light blinking as it captures everything. Somewhere across the ocean, Li Zhenghao watches the live feed on a monitor, smirking. Let the world burn, he murmurs. The night is heavy with rain in the outskirts of Kuala Lumpur. Inside an abandoned factory, a tactical team surrounds the perimeter. After weeks of encrypted intercepts, the global task force has finally traced Li Zhenghao's signal here. The agents move silently through puddles, their night vision lenses glowing faintly. Inside, servers hum, screens flicker, and the walls are lined with digital hardware used to run global scam farms, the heart of the Phoenix network. At the center of the chaos sits Li Zhenghao, calm, his hands folded. When the lights flash from the breaking doors, he doesn't flinch. Took you long enough, he says in Mandarin. The commander orders, hands where we can see them. But Li only smirks, whispering, you think catching me ends it? The tension thickens as agents approach. Suddenly, a timer on one of the monitors starts counting down. 00500. Panic erupts. It's a trap, someone yells. The room explodes into chaos as agents scramble to shut down the servers. Li laughs, standing slowly, eyes burning with something between madness and pride. You want justice? He shouts. Justice doesn't exist without sacrifice. A hidden door bursts open behind him, revealing cages filled with exhausted captives, their faces illuminated by emergency lights. Wang Xing's image appears on one of the giant screens, connected through a live feed from Bangkok. He watches in horror as the countdown ticks closer to 0. He pleads through the microphone, stop this. You've already destroyed enough lives. But Li only tilts his head, replying, I didn't destroy them. The system did. I just learned how to control it. The screen flickers. The timer hits 0.02. The agents manage to access the central system. We can override the detonation, an analyst says, but we need the passcode. Everyone turns to Li. He smiles faintly and murmurs, Phoenix never dies. He then bites down on something. Cyanide. Within seconds he collapses, lifeless, as the countdown continues. The room falls into frantic silence. The tech team works faster, typing furiously. Wang's voice echoes through the comms. Don't give up! You have to save them. With 0008 left, the final override executes. Access granted. The timer freezes at 003. The factory falls silent except for the rain outside. The agents exhale in disbelief. The captives are freed. But as they move to shut down the power grid, the servers suddenly restart on their own. The screens flash a phoenix-shaped logo, glowing bright red, followed by words, version 2.0 activated. 2 weeks later, the world watches as the news reports play on repeat. Li Zhenghao confirmed dead, but Phoenix Network resurfaces under unknown leadership. The investigation reveals that while the original servers were destroyed, backups had already been uploaded to decentralized nodes worldwide. The empire didn't end, it evolved. Wang Xing gives his final interview from a quiet recovery center. His face carries both pain and strength. I realize something, he says softly. You can kill a man, but you can't kill an idea, unless you replace it with a better one. The interviewer asks, so what's next for you? Wang pauses for a long moment before replying, I'll keep fighting, not with revenge, but with truth. A global foundation is launched in his name, the Xing Project, to help victims of cyber trafficking and digital slavery. His story inspires millions, but inside him, scars remain. Late at night, Wang scrolls through his old messages, the ones that first lured him into the trap. He doesn't delete them. Instead, he writes new messages, warning others, educating them, trying to turn his pain into protection for others. In the corner of his screen, a notification appears. Unknown file received, Phoenix Rebirthed MP4. His hand trembles. He opens it. The screen fills with static. Then a familiar voice whispers, "Did you really think the story was over?" Wang's reflection flickers in the glow of his monitor as the video ends abruptly. The final shot fades to black with haunting silence. A single phrase appears on screen. The Phoenix sleeps, but never dies. Then a heartbeat sound echoes once, twice, before the screen cuts out completely. If you were watching till the end, take a deep breath. Because this story isn't just about one man. It's about all of us, living in a world where technology can both save and destroy. Wang Xing's kidnapping wasn't just a case. It was a mirror, showing how power hides in plain sight. And if the Phoenix network is truly reborn, it means this darkness still moves among us. So the question is, if you disappeared online tomorrow, would anyone know where to find you? Subscribe now, because in our next episode, we uncover another real case that will shake you to your core. Until then, stay alert, stay safe.